we chant down Vatican now. Bang bling bling chant down Babylon kingdom. Natty make we chant down Vatican now. Chant down Babylon kingdom. Natty make we chant down Vatican now. Bang bling bling chant down Babylon kingdom. Natty make we chant down Vatican now.
What up, y'all? Babylon 5 Podcast. It's your boy, Jermaine Event. How you guys doing? This is episode 198. We're getting up there, ladies and gentlemen. We're almost to 200. What does it mean? What will happen when we get there? I don't know. In my mind, I was thinking about, it just made me think about the Louis C.K. joke when he was like, it wasn't really the year 3. Like, people didn't call it the year 3 during the year 3. It's like, what happened before that? People were like, oh, it's the year, 3, and then they were like, it's the year 2. And they're like, what's gonna happen? Yeah, it'd be f***ing crazy if the years were counting down to 0. It'd be like, what the f*** is gonna happen after year 1? I'd freak the fuck out, but this is Babylon 5 Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your boy Jermaine Events. We are here, and I talk mainly about combat news. If you guys don't know, if this is your first time, mainly talk about combat sports, and I talk about really whatever the fuck I feel like. Just this being like the Babble on 5 podcast, it's just, I like to babble. I like to digress. I'd like to embrace that. That's what we do here in the Babylon 5 podcast. But one constant, ladies and gentlemen, one constant here at the Babylon 5 podcast is combat sports, or majority of the UFC. We're mainly a UFC platform here. I'm a UFC shill at this point. I feel like I need to go in and see that within the first 2 minutes I swore about twice. Try to cut that just try to cut that out of there. But yeah, this is episode 198, ladies and gentlemen. And we are going to talk about, of course, we're going to talk about UFC Vegas 74, KaraFrance versus Amir Albazi. We're going to talk about that card. We're going to talk about next week's card, which is UFC 289, headlined by Amanda Nunes defending her belt against Irene Aldana. It was originally the trilogy fight between Amanda Nunes and Juliana Pena, but Juliana Pena had to pull out due to injury, and now we're getting Irene Aldana, who's coming off of a victory against Macy Chiasson. And we'll talk about that when we get to that fight, ladies and gentlemen. We'll definitely talk about that then. But as per usual, if you guys would like to follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter, it's at Babylon5Pod, at Babylon5Pod. If you guys would like to email this podcast for whatever reason, it's at Babylon5Podcast@gmail.com. If you guys would like to follow this podcast on Twitch, head on over to twitch.tv/Babylon5. And if you guys want to cop some merchandise, head on over to teespring.com/store/BOFpod-shop. And lastly, don't just be my Niji. Be my patron. Head on over to patreon.com/Babylon5Pod, and you can be my patron today. I'm trying to watch my dirty mouth, ladies and gentlemen. We're only 4 minutes in. From what I remember, what I think I know, I need to keep the naughty words down until at least 10 minutes in. Need to keep all the naughty words out at least until about 10 minutes in. So pardon me, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to keep it rated. I'm going to try to keep it PG-13 until the 10-minute mark, and then it's TVMA. It's complete TVMA at that point. Last night, Amir Albazi defeats KaraFrance via split decision. Alright? Split decision victory for Amir Albazi. I was seeing people online, the Twitter sphere, and I'm not talking about Adesanya. Someone like Adesanya, KaraFrance's teammate, should react in the way that he did. I have no problems with Izzy saying you should fire the judges and that the judges should be held accountable after the fights because, well, yeah, they should definitely be held accountable. It's the job. The fighters are held accountable. They're interviewed after the fights. Why aren't the refs? Why aren't the judges ever held accountable for what goes on out there, for when people are calling for robberies? All right, I'm seeing a lot of people saying that this was a robbery, that Amir Albazi wins via split. But the thing that I stress is that a close fight cannot be a robbery. A close fight is not a robbery simply because the more popular person won. It's a split decision. One judge scored it for Kai. It was a close fight. It was a very close fight. There was fucking takedowns, submission attempts from Albazi. Albazi looked good in the stand-up. Kai had more volume. He was landing more in the stand-up. But as I tweeted out, it looked like when Albazi touched Kai, like every time he touched Kai, it looked to really have more effect on Kai than when Kai touched Albazi. Like, yeah, when he landed those rights later on, I think about the fourth, fifth round, he started landing those rights, like constant right hands. Other than that, Albazi was really fucking Kai up. Ooh, there's another one. Was really messing Kai up with his jab. His hand, dude, every time he touched Kai, it looked like, ooh, this might be a problem. This might be the beginning of the end for Kai. Anytime Kai got touched. So Amir looked good. This was a close fight. It's not a robbery. Everybody can't, at the end of that fight, say, wow, that was an amazing fight for both men. I saw so many people before the scores were read off saying I scored it this way, but I could see it going either way. That was the consensus that I seen before it was read off. Once it was read off, everybody saying I could see it going either way, like, that went out the window. Suddenly, there was only one way that anybody could have seen it going, and that was KaraFrance winning the fight. I picked him going in. I thought he would be able to handle the grappling, and even though he got taken down, there was the submission attempt, he looked great, in my opinion. I felt like Kai looked great in there, in the grappling. He showed how great his grappling defense is, how good he is in the stand-up. It was a very good fight. Very competitive fight. Competitive fights are not robberies just because the guy you wanted to win lost. It was a very competitive fight, and it could have gone either way. Alright? In my opinion, there was no clear-cut winner of that fight. Like, I feel like you could have scored the rounds depending on what you saw. You know what I'm saying? Depending on how you saw what. If you were seeing what I was seeing, and it looked like Albazi was really hurting KaraFrance when he was landing on him, then it looks like Albazi was doing more damage in that respect. Therefore, he would win those rounds. You know what I'm saying? So this was a really close fight. This was a really close fight. I liked it a lot. I'd like to see 5 more rounds of these guys going at it, and I hope we get to see it again in the future with them. With their rankings, Kai coming in here ranked number 3, and then Albazi came in ranked 7. You know, there's a good chance we see these guys fight again. How many times did Davison and Moreno fight? Like 4 times in the same division, you know, so it's not far off that we see these guys fight again. But that was a great fight from Amir Albazi and KaraFrance. Amir's game, I think Kai has better grappling defense, better takedown defense than a lot of other people in the weight class. So, like, I see Amir Albazi being a problem for most of the people that will be ahead of him. If he's number 3 after this, you got, like, Royval, you got, I believe, Pantoja, Moreno, and Figueiredo hanging around there. I think he's a problem for everybody. With his grappling, his striking looks good. He looks powerful. He's a big dude. I mean, Kai's not necessarily the biggest dude, I guess, but he looked a lot bigger than Kai. So that's just interesting. That was pretty interesting. Yeah, he's calling for a title shot next, and you know, there was a talk about Brandon Royval, who's the backup fighter for Moreno Pantoja, but yeah, we'll see what happens. He says that Royval and Albazi, that they were scheduled to fight, but Royval pulled out, so he doesn't feel like Royval deserves to get a title fight ahead of him, seeing as he pulled out the fight. That's just weird logic when people say that. That's like that Nate Diaz. He's like, oh, I was scheduled to fight Khabib, but he pulled out, so that means I already won. Like, that's not really how that works, my nigga. Injuries and shit happen. And they're like, yeah, I fought with injuries all the time, but should you? Should you have? I don't know. I don't know if you should have. Also last night, fight of the night, Bruce Leroy. All right, Alex Caceres versus Daniel Pineda. That was a great fight. You saw a lot of skill on the ground. Pineda got this armbar in deep. It looked deep. And Caceres was able to just somehow get out of the position. He was beautifully able to get out of that position and get into safety, land some body shots. He was doing beautiful body work with his boxing. Alex Caceres looked amazing in there. He's really coming into himself. He looks like, to me, it was like when I started seeing Charles Oliveira on the rise, and I was trying to tell you niggas he's going to be the next champion. Yeah, I was like, nobody can beat Khabib. I was like, Charles is going to be the next champion. You know, those two never fought. They never met in the octagon. But I saw that rise, and I was right that Charles would be the next champion. I was completely right in that assumption. And I see big things for Caceres in there. I see some big things for Pineda here. It was fight of the night for a reason. This was a great fight. Pineda's a tough motherfucker. Oh, yeah, we're over 10 minutes. He's a tough motherfucker, that guy. Caceres was really working that body, like knees, body kicks, the boxing to the body. Like, he was really working the body. Pineda would have to, like, turn and take breaks. Mark Smith would be like, you defend yourself, keep fighting. Like, it looked bad, but then Pineda would throw strikes and keep fighting. It was a tough fight, gritty, dude. You saw so much skill. Like, if there's one fight to go back and watch from the night, I would definitely say it's Alex Caceres, Bruce Leroy versus Daniel Pineda. Fight of the night for a good reason. That was a phenomenal fight, and I can't wait to see both of these gentlemen fight again soon. This is a great fight, ladies and gentlemen. But we can look at the rest of this card here. Jim Miller defeats Jesse Butler. They said there was a 41 fight difference in experience. Jim Miller, his record's 36-17. Jesse Butler's record is 12-5. Jesse Butler got knocked out in 23 seconds. I thought it was a mismatch. When I saw that stat, I was like, what commission said this was okay? Well, I mean, Nevada, obviously. They fought in Nevada. I'm like, why would you allow this to happen? This is a crazy mismatch. This seems unfair. Jim Miller knocks that nigga out in 23 seconds. It looked unfair. Turned out to be unfair. It's crazy how that ended up happening. Jim Miller is now the winningest nigga in UFC history. The first person to accumulate 25 victories in the UFC. So congrats to Jim Miller on setting records. He's saying his goal is to at least fight at UFC 300. He fought at UFC 200. He wants to fight. I believe he may have fought at UFC 100, nigga. He might have. As I'm saying, he has the most wins in UFC history. All right. And I believe he fought at UFC 100. I guess the answer is right in the palm of my hand, ladies and gentlemen. And it's here in like 2 seconds. Jim Miller. Damn, yeah, wait, hold on. Yep, he fought at UFC 100 against some nigga named Mac Danzig. Yeah, this nigga's been here for a long time. His debut was UFC 89. Alright? UFC 89 in 2008. This nigga's been here since 2008. Alright? He knocked out Jesse Butler in 23 seconds. Jesse Butler was born in 1992. Okay, so he's not that. He wasn't like a young boy. Thought he was there's an 8-year difference, okay? But 41 fights also. And he knocked that young man out. Or not that young of a man. In 23 seconds, it looked like there was that difference. You know, you could really see it in the fight. You could see the skill gap. Can't believe you guys sanctioned that fight. Tim Elliott defeats Victor Altamirano. Very gritty fight, as I predicted. Tim Elliott looked good. He outpaced him. He just looked good. He was all over him. So shout out to Tim Elliott for getting the victory. Carini Silva, I believe was how they pronounced it, defeats Ketlin Souza in the first round via sub. I believe that was like was it a knee bar or some shit? I don't know. She popped that knee out. She's doing some kind of leg lock and popped that knee out. Finished her in the first round. Look, Carini Silva looks like a monster. And as I said here with many times, it only takes but one real mastery of one discipline for you to be like a top competitor in a women's division in the UFC. So like, shout out to her because she looks to have a lot going for her. Alicio dos Santos Zalecki dos Santos defeats Abubakar Nurmagomedov via split decision. I thought it went the other way, but it's just not how the cookie crumbles. Daniel Santos defeats Johnny Munoz. I'm not sure what I was... Oh, yeah, that's the guy, Daniel Santos, trains with Charles Oliveira. Yeah, I remember that fight. It's a good fight. It's kind of dragging on. But anyway, Dontel Mays knocks out Andrei Arlovsky. I didn't know that Mays was training with John Jones until he was like walking into the octagon. And I'm like, had I known that information, I probably would have picked Dontel Mays. But Dontel Mays finishes Arlovsky in the second round. John Castaneda beats Muin Gafurov. This Muin Gafurov guy, he like ran in with a headbutt. Head first, headbutt, and then threw punches. So they took a point away from that guy in the second round. It was pretty disgusting. Pretty disgusting headbutt that this man did in there. He got, like, Castaneda headbutt, like, there was a clash of the heads, I believe. I could be getting this backwards. I didn't see the headbutt, but I from what I heard them saying, it sounded like before Gafurov ran forward with the headbutt, he complained that he got headbutted by Castaneda, but the ref said he didn't see anything, so keep going. And then shortly after that, Gafurov ran forward with the headbutt, which I felt like was retaliation because the ref didn't do anything about it the first time. But it's like you were already losing the fight. You lost the first round. Then you run in with that headbutt in the second round, lose a point. Kept grabbing that fence, my nigga. He was being lenient. The ref was being lenient. But it was just not a good look. But it looked like it was retaliation. But it was just not a good look, my guy. Just not a good look. His fellow countryman, Muhammad Naimov, defeats Jamie Malarkey, knocked out Jamie Malarkey. As I tell you guys, Jamie Malarkey's fucking game. I don't like picking anybody against any of the mobs. If their name ends in OV, oh shit, is how I feel. Alright? And Muhammad Naimov knocks out Jamie Malarkey in the second round. Malarkey contested the stoppage, but as he's like trying to say like what, he's falling over. He can't stand up, and as he'd fall back down and kind of try to get up and be like what, fall back down. It's like, bro, you can't stand right now. You can't even stand right now. And once the ref helped him up, he immediately kept complaining like, dude, I'm fine. And then he starts to stumble backwards. It was like, damn, bro. Muhammad Naimov knocks out Jamie Malarkey in the Apex. Apparently had a stadium full of like 50,000 people back in Kyrgyzstan, I believe is where they're from. So at least he had a huge audience back home. Tim Elliott couldn't even get his family into the Apex. Tim Elliott tweeting that once he got to the Apex, he found out that they were no longer giving family members tickets to the fights. Found that out at the Apex. That shit's crazy. That shit is crazy. Elise Reed defeats Jinyu Frey. I felt like Jinyu Frey was winning the fight, and then in the third round, I felt like she kind of just like took her foot off the gas. Maybe she was gassed, and Elise Reed just started coming on strong with the strikes. But I felt like when Jinyu Frey was landing, she was hurting Elise Reed, and she was just more active in the earlier rounds, and then she slowed it down. So unfortunate for her. I feel like Jinyu Frey could bounce back. She looks swole as fuck. Jinyu Frey looks so friggin' swole. I don't know if you guys have seen Jinyu Frey. I mean, when she came into the UFC, I remember she was pretty cut up. But my God, Johnson. My God, Johnson. She's fucking swole these days. Are you guys testing everybody? Because she's fucking swole, my guy. Damon Blackshear defeats Luan Lacerda via knockout in the second round. I feel like everybody He's on steroids in every fucking fight promotion. Boxing, every combat sports, fucking jiu-jitsu. Look at fucking that racist guy, Gordon. The Ryan Gordon, that racist guy. He's juiced to the gills, ladies and gentlemen. Felipe Lins defeats Maxim Grisham. I'm jumping the gun here a little bit. Dude, look at Felipe Lins and Maxim Grisham. Tell me how long it would take you to build those physiques naturally. Jesus Christ. All you motherfuckers are on steroids. This was a good card. That first fight, Felipe Lins versus Maxim Grisham, that's a good fight. Y'all should go back and check that fight out. This whole card was good. This was not a card to be slept on, and if you did, I'm sorry for you. Next week, UFC 289, ladies and gentlemen. Amanda Nunes versus Irene Aldana is the headline to fight with the co-main event. I saw people, I saw this funny shit on the Weasel, like, posted on Twitter, and they were saying how, like, Oliveira and Dariush is the main event, and somebody was saying, like, yeah, and they got a silly post-slim right after the main event. Like, they're calling Amanda Nunes versus Irene Aldana the post-slim. The fight after the card. Oh, that's wild. It's wild because, I mean, I don't know. I'm much more interested in Oliveira Dariush. I wish that fight was 5 rounds. I don't know if we're going to need 5 rounds for that fight. I feel like we're going to get it finished, but we can talk about that. Headline in this card, as I said, Amanda Nunes versus Irene Aldana. Yeah, I think this is going to be like Farouk, D'Lo Brown, The Rock, Mark Henry. The Nation of Domination is what this fight is going to be. Amanda Nunes is going to fucking style all over Irene Aldana. Irene Aldana shouldn't even be here, nigga. Irene Aldana shouldn't even be here, nigga. I thought niggas was looking at me like I was crazy. I'm saying, like, wasn't Irene Aldana getting her ass beat in her last fight? Didn't she get a lucky ass up kick in her last fight? Niggas looking at me like I'm crazy. What are you talking about? This is Irene Aldana's time. When they announced Juliana Pena was getting the trilogy fight, niggas online were talking about, like, she doesn't deserve this. Why isn't Irene Aldana getting the title fight? She was getting her fucking ass beat in the last fight, alright? She was getting her fucking ass beat. She looked fantastic in the first round. Second round, damn near was about to get finished by Macy Chiasson. Third round, Macy took her down, and it wasn't looking the best. And then I think she, like, pushed Macy off of her, and was still on her back. Macy came forward and she caught Macy in the liver with an up kick. The first time that had ever happened in UFC history was a knockout from an up kick to the liver, to the fucking body. That's the first time that happened. It was a freak accident. She was on her way to a loss. Alright? That's why they didn't give her this fucking title fight initially. It had to be dire circumstances for her to fight for the belt in her next fight, because she was getting her fucking ass beat by Macy Chiasson. Nunes is about to style on this girl. Alright? Or Amanda Nunes comes in there and underestimates Irene Aldana, and Irene Aldana catches her Because I feel like Irene Aldana will be decent. She's going to be good until she gets touched. Once Nunes puts them hands on her, that's pretty much all she wrote for that one. I give most of these ladies a chance. They're skillful. Until Nunes touches them. If you let her touch you, it's over. Nunes is lava. Okay? Nunes is lava. If lava touches you, if you touch the lava, it's over. You're gonna be like, nigga, how do I win the fight if I can't touch the lava, if she's lava? Exactly, nigga, you can't win the fight. It's a lose-lose situation. Get in there, get your money, because you're not winning a championship. Negotiate more money beforehand. Tell them about the incoming brain damage you're about to suffer when fighting Amanda Nunes and inquire for more money. Get in there and make your money. I don't see it happening for Irene. I'm going to Nunes by Nation of Domination. Alright? Why don't we ever get a Nation of Domination reunion? I don't even watch wrestling. I just always see on Twitter to be like, well, here's these like 60-some niggas dressed like DX. It's like, what happened to the Nation of Domination? What about the niggas? What about the niggas and they killeroos? You know what I'm saying? What about the niggas? In the co-main event, man, Charles the Bronx Oliveira versus Beneil Dariush. And if this ain't the first time for you niggas, you know your boy, or if this is the first time for you niggas, then you don't know. Let me tell you niggas, I'm a huge Charles Oliveira fan. Alright, love my boy Du Bronx. As I said here earlier, I predicted that he would be the next champion after Khabib. I saw that boy. I was like, that boy good. Alright? That boy good is what I said. And that boy was good. He went on and won that belt. As I predicted, he became the next champion after Khabib. And unfortunately, his reign came to an end due to a fight with Khabib's teammate. And it's pretty embarrassing. Because I thought... It's embarrassing for me because I was saying that Charles would beat Khabib. And honestly, who knows? Maybe he still would beat Khabib. Maybe he still would have beat Khabib. I think Islam's striking is far greater than Khabib's striking. It's not the same fight, ladies and gentlemen. So there's no way to just say that Khabib would win that fight since Islam won that fight. They're two different fighters. Completely, there's a whole different world you got to worry about when fighting Islam Makhachev. The nigga's huge, too. Nigga's been allegedly juicing since they've been like 10, 11 years old. Niggas been juicing. Allegedly. Charles Oliveira versus Beneil Dariush. I'm worried about this fight. I loves me some Charles Oliveira. I seen him back in the day. I was like, that boy good. That boy is good. But I'm honestly... I gotta respect who Beneil Dariush is. I gotta respect the work that Beneil Dariush has been putting in, the skill set that I've seen displayed from Beneil Dariush, and that's what crazily, to me, makes me think this fight is kind of 50-50. I mean, I would probably say along with how Charles performed against Islam Makhachev, that would probably factor in, because as I told you guys, if you're a long time listener, leading into that Islam fight, I said Oliveira was going to dominate Islam and finish that boy. Couldn't have been more wrong. So I'm a little worried going into this one. I don't know what happens here. As a fan, I'm rooting for Charles Oliveira. I mean, kinda. I like new matchups. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd like to see Beneil fight Islam, but not necessarily at the fucking, if it costs Charles Oliveira a loss. I don't want it to happen in that way. I'd rather see Oliveira win, but I honestly don't know who wins this fight. There's just certain things with Oliveira's head movement and Dariush's striking that concerns me. There's just certain things with how successful Islam was in grappling against Oliveira and how strong Dariush is and how good his grappling is. That brings some concern to me. Fuck, dude. I think I'm saying out loud, my words are saying 50-50, but jeez, man, it's a tough ask. Tough ask for Charles Oliveira, but if anybody can pull it off, it's Du Bronx. So I'm rooting for Du Bronx, but it's a fucking tall task ahead of him against Beneil Dariush. You got Mike Malott versus Adam Fuggett. I don't know Adam Fuggett. I don't know any of these niggas, to be honest. I think I saw Malott fight in the last Canada fucking card, if I'm not mistaken. I think he knocked the nigga out early. I don't know why this shit ain't loading up. It ain't showing me. Oh, wait. Okay. I don't really know these guys, so I'm not gonna have much to say. Let's be real. We got Dan Ige versus Nate the Train Landwehr. His mama ain't raised no bitch, and you gon' have to whoop his ass. All right. I love the vibe from Nate Landwehr. That country ass vibe from Nate Landwehr. I'm rooting for Nate Landwehr in this fight. I'm rooting for Nate Landwehr in life, my nigga. All right? I'm rooting for Nate Landwehr in life. So, interested in that fight, most definitely. This card is on late as fuck. I think the main card starts at 9, man. I don't even know if honestly don't know if I'm gonna be able to watch all these fights live because I work so early in the morning on Sunday. This shit is on. This shit'll probably be on till like 2 o'clock in the morning. Till like almost 2 o'clock in the morning. Like a lot of the times when I don't have to be at work at 4 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, it'd be like, holy fuck, how am I, like, I'll be damn near falling asleep. I gotta, like, get up and, like, lift weights real quick just to, like, get the blood flowing, get the blood pumping, man. Just to wake myself up. It's fucking crazy, dude. This card's on late. Hopefully I can try to see all this in some way. Eric Anders versus Marc-Andre Barriault. I've seen both of these people fight, I believe, live. I know for a fact, Barriault, I saw him fight in the John Jones card. That boy is a beast. I think he'll get that one done. So, Nasruddin Imavov is fighting Chris Curtis in the prelim headline fight. I think this is a terrible fight for Imavov, given the fact that Chris Curtis's teammate and fellow podcast host, and niggas just started a podcast. That shit's hilarious. Check that shit out. Dude, Chris Curtis and Sean Strickland were talking about Chris Curtis's debut fight in the UFC. He gets on the fighter bus, and then who else gets on this fighter bus? Rose Namajunas and Pat Barry. And they're sitting like right in front of them. And like and Sean Strickland says, "So Pat, how old was she?" Like, just starts asking Pat Barry how old was Rose Namajunas when they met. And which was like that. I mean, everybody knows at this point the answer is like she was 14 and my nigga was like 30. My nigga was like 30. And they're like, Chris Curtis on this. Y'all, check out this podcast. It's fucking hilarious. But just on the buses, apparently just going at him like, so how old was she? Just tell me, Pat, how old was she? And then Rose apparently lost the fight that weekend, and they blamed Sean Strickland. I don't even, if that happened, I probably didn't know who Sean Strickland was at the time, but that's fucking wild to me. I want to go back and like see what card that was that Chris Curtis like debuted on. And maybe I can do that in 2 seconds, just right here on my phone, bro. That's how that happens. He was on the... Oh. No. It was Covington Usman 2. I was going to say, like, damn, I was there. But I was not there. I was definitely not there. So that's when she lost to... No, this doesn't make any sense. Because I feel like... Yeah, Rose won this fight. So his first fight... Chris Curtis is... See, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Chris Curtis's first fight in the UFC, Rose did fight on that card, but she won. She beat Zhang Weili in that fight. So... Yeah, I don't know what the fuck these people are... I don't know what they're talking about. But that apparently happened on the bus at some... Like, probably that time. But they couldn't blame him for losing because they won the fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's interesting that I'm seeing that. Miranda Mavericks fighting Jasmine Jasudavicius. That should be a very interesting fight. Highly competitive women's fight. Ladies and gentlemen, you got Diana Belvita versus Maria Oliveira. That should be a really good fight. Really good fight. Shout out to everybody else fighting on that card. As you know it. But I'm going to go ahead and get the fudge up out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for being here another week. This is episode 198. If you guys want to follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter, it's at Babylon5Pod. You guys can email this podcast at Babylon5podcast@gmail.com. If you guys would like to follow this podcast on Twitch, head on over to twitch.tv/Babylon5. And you guys can cop some merchandise by heading on over to teespring.com/stores/BOFpod-shop. And lastly, don't just be my Niji, be my patrons. Head on over to patreon.com/Babylon5Pod and you can be my patron today. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys, as I said, so much for being here another week. 198 weeks consecutively, and we're here. We're going strong. Until I die, I guess that'll be the last episode, as far as I know. Until I feel like not even doing this no more. Maybe we get up to 200 and I'm like, all right, niggas, I'm out. Who knows? But in the meantime, in between time, I hope you guys are taking care of yourselves and each other. And I'll see you when I see you. I'll holla.
Chant down Babylon kingdom. Natty make we chant down Vatican now. Bang bling bling chant down Babylon kingdom. Natty make we chant down Vatican now. Chant down Babylon kingdom. Natty make we chant down Vatican now. Bang bling bling chant down Babylon kingdom. Natty make we chant down Vatican now.